Howdy, Immortalium here, and today I'm reviewing The Woman Called Fujiko Mine. Now, just before I discuss this series, let me just explain the Lupin III franchise to you. So, Lupin III began in the early 70s, I think it was, written by Monkey Punch mangaka. The series was adapted into several TV series, as well as several movies. Now, it's interesting to know that Hayao Miyazaki directed several episodes of the TV series, but made his feature film debut with the second Lupin III film, Casa Cagliostro. Now, my personal experience of this series solely comes from The Mystery of Mamo, the first Lupin III film, and from Casa Cagliostro. Beyond that, nothing. So, from what I understood, what the series is about is a master thief, Lupin III himself, with two accomplices, Goemon and Daisuke. They go off trying to steal stuff. They quite frequently encounter another master thief, femme fatale called Fujiko Mine, and Lupin III is always pursued by an inspector called Zenigata. That's the basic premise of the series. Now, this series, Lupin III, The Woman Called Fujiko Mine, as you can guess from the title, features Fujiko Mine as the lead, making it the first time ever in the Lupin III franchise that someone else other than Lupin III has become the lead. It's also the most recent. It was made in 2012. And also, it's a lot darker, from what I've heard. It's a lot darker, more sexual, more violent than previous Lupin III installments. So that just does need to be said. So, what is the story of this series? Well, it starts out quite episodically. It's a prequel to the previous installments of Lupin III, with many of the characters meeting each other for the first time. So the first episode introduces us to Fujiko Mine herself, and Lupin III, and Zenigata. The next episode introduces to Daisuke. The next episode introduces us to Goemon. So, but as the series progresses, it becomes steadily more and more serialized, with an overarching story. Now, concerning the overall story, it was good. The ending was a bit disappointing in some ways and fulfilling in others. It was so a mixed ending. And the other thing I just want to point out is the series became more and more serialized, yet at about episode 8, episode 9, about there was kind of a filler episode which kind of annoyed me. It was about a revolutionary in Central America featuring Fujiko Mine and Goemon. But I was disappointed because it's quite episodic, and I'd gotten used to the serialized nature, so I just found it kind of pointless fluff, pointless filler, so I was disappointed at that episode. The rest of the series is good though. Now, the main reason that most people watch Lupin III is for the characters. Now, from what I hear, the characters are a lot darker in this series than they are in previous incarnations. But let me just run through them. Also, I watched this in English dub, so I may as well discuss the English dub of these characters as well. So first up, we have Lupin III himself, voiced by Sonny Strait. Now, Lupin III is he's a master thief, but he's very charming, very likable, very goofy. And Sonny Strait introduces that great charm to him as well. So overall, he's a very likable character, very charming, and you can see why he would be so popular. Next up is Fujiko Mine, voiced by Michelle Ruff, who also voices Rukia from Bleach, amongst other roles, such as Yuki Nagano. Now, she lends a great sense of kind of how to describe it. She knows when to be sexy with Fujiko Mine. She knows when to be aggressive. She knows when to be, crazy. She's very good as Fujiko Mine. Christopher R. Sabat voices Daisuke, a kind of very cool kind of gunslinger, and he plays the role fantastically. And Daisuke himself is a very likable character, kind of the serious character of the lot. Goemon, a samurai, is voiced by Mike McFarlane. Now, Goemon, in my opinion, of all the main characters, is the least important, in this series at least. But Mike McFarlane does play him very well for what he's given. Just overall, I believe Goemon is probably the least important. And finally, we have Zenigata himself, the inspector, voiced by Richard Epcar. Zenigata, he's very serious in this. Always going after Lupin. Obsessed, you could say. But also kind of corrupted. So he's kind of a mixed character. But Richard Epcar, who I have not heard in many recent dubs, he voiced Bato in Ghost in the Shell. but I looked him up on IMDb recently, and he mainly voices video games these days. So I was very happy to hear him in an anime TV series again. So overall, the cast is very good. There are some weak points, but overall it's a very nice cast. Now, the main thing to discuss with this series, though, is the art style, first of all. So, the art style, how to describe this? Okay, the art director for this was a guy called Takeshi Koike. Now, for any of you who know Takeshi Koike, he directed Red Line, which, you know, is a visual masterpiece. But Red Line bombed in Japan, so, you know, I was kind of thinking, you know, oh, is he going to be reduced down to, an in-between animator? But he got picked up for this series, and he lends the series a great sense of, you know, visual flair. One thing I took note of is that there's no hard shadows in this. Shadows are actually like, how can one describe it? They're like straight lines, whether they be diagonal or horizontal. They're these kind of black lines just to indicate shadow, almost like on a dollar bill, which looked very awesome. As well as the characters themselves, which had a nice level of detail, nice sense of coloration, etc., etc. So the series itself is a visual masterpiece from a look perspective, from an artistic perspective. From an animation perspective, it's a bit more problematic. This art style, while very pleasing, is quite complicated, and at several points throughout the series you can see some struggling with the animation, just, you know, trying to get the characters to animate yet help them maintain that artistic look. And a TV budget, you know, isn't the optimal budget for this kind of art, so the animation does suffer for it. Now overall, that's not to say the animation in general is bad, but it is, you know, much more weaker than the actual artistic look of the series itself. Now, an interesting thing is that the music director for this was Shinichiro Watanabe, the man who directed Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, Kids on the Slope, now Space Dandy, and he chooses a lot of great soundtracks for this, you know, like jazz, hip-hop, kind of, etc., etc. Very 70s feel, which is very nice, because this is set during the Cold War. They make several explicit kind of references to the Cold War. So from a technical perspective, you know, an art look and a music look, it is an excellent series. So overall, what do I think of The Woman Called Fujiko Mine? It is a good series. It is one that I'd recommend. It's no masterpiece like some people claim, but it is a kind of a great introduction to the Lupin III franchise, and I actually intend to get the first season from America, from Anime Works, is it? I found out it's region free, so I do intend to pick that up. But I did enjoy this series. It is flawed. The ending could have been dealt with it a lot better. That episode, you know, with the revolutionary could have been removed and would have made the series better. Some of the characters could have been given a bit more of a spotlight. Goemon was a bit disappointing overall, considering how unimportant he is, basically, for the whole series. But overall, I would recommend it. I would recommend you check this out. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye-bye.